Age-based discipline. We are going to talk about this subject for this video. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's start with ignorance. And this is usually for toddlers, but there's a possibility that you may have to use this tactic for infants as well. Ignorance is the action of pretending to not take notice of the actions of the child in order to stop them from bad behavior. It is usually used for children who most likely want attention through tantrums so that they can get what they want. Eventually, the child will stop their bad behavior when they realize they're not getting the result they wanted. Because if you look away from them or ignore them, then they realize that what they're doing is not getting any reaction out of you. And therefore, they're not getting what they want. So they just stop. And it is only used for minor situations or minor problems. Let's move on to the next slide. Distraction. Distraction is usually used for infants and toddlers. And it's used to completely draw interest into something else so that the child may not be interested in something that's either dangerous or in possession of another child, shown here. And it can be dealt with providing the child with alternatives, something that interests them, something that they like, to draw them away from something that may be dangerous or another possession, because they have very quick, they have short attention spans, so they'll change their mind quickly about what they just thought of. And it helps to avoid conflict between children or possible incidents. Redirection. And this is usually used for toddlers, preschoolers, and school-age children. Now, redirection is the substitution of an undesirable activity for a desirable one. And as I said earlier in my videos, it is used to indulge in a child's interest while keeping control of the way the activity is implemented. And it can help the child turn away from an undesirable behavior while turning the concept of what they are doing to make it even more desirable. For example, like if you see a child writing on the walls with the crayon, you can replace it with a paper and say, you can't write on the wall with your crayons, but here's a paper so that you can draw whatever you want. Let's move on. Finally, we have removal. And this is used for practically all age ranges: infants, toddlers, preschoolers, and school-age children. Now, removal is the immediate intervention of an intense situation. This is the most important of all of them. And it is usually used for a conflict between two children involving hitting, biting, and other behavior that may be dangerous. Now, you can place them in a safe area in order for their emotions to not escalate. Because if their emotions escalate, then you could have an even bigger problem on your hands. And possibly the parents may be angry at you for not controlling the situation. And it is also used to make the child calm down. And make sure to not put them away for too long, because they may bring up their anger again, remembering what they were angry at. You just want to keep them out for a short time. Which, for example, timeouts. Keep the children in a safe place and make sure they are in the same place for a short amount of time so that the child can calm down and they're away from the other child, so that there's no problems that can possibly arise. Thank you for listening to this video, and I'm glad you listened. Goodbye.